Let's see if we can get a little better understanding about subtracting integers and what we mean by the additive inverse with this tutorial on the number line. We have some examples from our integer poster down here at the bottom, and we'll begin with the first one, 3 minus 6. We've seen this already, and we do the additive inverse, so keep 3, subtraction becomes addition, we're going to add the opposite, additive inverse, inverse means opposite, 6 becomes negative 6. So now we have a problem, 3 plus negative 6. And I put that up here at the top. So remember our rules, the way we handled it with addition. We move 3 in the positive direction when it's positive, and then we move in the negative direction when it's negative. So we move in the negative direction 6 spaces. We wind up here at negative 3. So 3 plus negative 6 equals negative 3. Let's try the next one. 3 minus negative 6 is the same as saying 3 plus 6. So let's change this to 3 plus 6. And we find that we add 3, we add another 6, and 3 plus 6 equals 9. Let's take a look at negative 3 minus 6, which becomes plus negative 6. So let's try that. And we start here, we move in the negative direction 3 spaces, 3 units, and then move in the negative direction another 6 units. Negative 3 plus negative 6 is negative 9 when we total those two together. And then the last one here, we have negative 3 minus negative 6, and the opposite of minus negative 6 is plus positive 6. So let's move that here. Negative 3, positive 6, and we wind up with positive 3. And let's make sure that we notice this, that if we move this to positive 3, we have negative 3 and positive 3, and they cancel each other out. And if you start at 0, you wind up at 0. And if you have positive 3 and you go to negative 3, again they cancel each other out. You start at 0, you go back to 0. These cancel each other out. These are opposites. That's why look at subtracting negative numbers. This is called the field charge model. What we start off with is we need to find out what our first number is, negative 6. Let me drag negative 6 negative chips there. Negatives are going to be red. It's kind of like a battery, positive and negative, and positive and negative electrons, and you can talk more about this in science lab. But we have 6 negative chips, so that is negative 6. So let's press continue, and now we have to bring in some pairs. These are called neutral sets. A positive and negative, they balance each other out, just like, negative 2 and positive 2 equals 0. They balance each other out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to drag 1 pair, 2 pair, because I need enough to take away 2 positives. I could drag more in, and they wouldn't count because they balance each other out. They'd be kind of invisible. But we're going to add just bring in 2, because I only need 2. Now it says positive 2, so I'm going to take 2 positives away from there. So 1, 2, and look what I'm left with. I'm left with 6, 7, 8 negatives. So that would mean that negative 6 minus 2 equals negative 8. Let's take a look and see how that looks on our number line model that we were looking at earlier. Well, we have negative 6, but remember this is addition, and we had some rules for that. We said keep, change, change. Keep, change, change. We're going to keep negative 6. Subtraction will become addition, and positive 2 will become negative 2. So we look over here. Negative 6 plus negative 2, just like we changed it to over here. And we find that if we go to negative 6 and then we go to negative 2, we wind up at negative 8. The same answer we came up with back on the page with the field charge model right here. Negative 8. Negative 6 minus 2, two positives, comes up with negative 8. You can add the opposite. Let's look at another example. We have positive 5, so we need 5 positive charges here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to need enough pairs, negative and positive, to be able to take away 5 negatives. So we add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs. 5 pairs of positive and negative charges. Now it says 5, so our problem is set up, we're ready to solve it. 5 positive, we have that, and now we need to take away 5 negative charges. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've taken away our 5 negative charges, and we can see that we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this shows us that 5 take away negative 5 equals a positive 10. Let's compare that to the number line. Okay, so now we have, let's rewrite it over here in red. 5 minus negative 5. And we have to do our regular routine of keep, change, change. So 5 stays the same. Subtraction becomes addition. Negative 5 becomes positive 5. So 5 plus 5, and we know 5 plus 5 equals 10. And this is the same as we came up with back here with our field charge model of if we have 5 and we take away 5 negatives, then what we have left over is 10 positives. Let's take a look at some numbers we've seen before. Negative 3 minus negative 6. So I need 3 negatives. And I need enough neutral pairs or zero pairs, which means I need a negative and a positive because they cancel each other out, to be able to take away 6. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 neutral pairs and 3 negatives here. So let's continue on. And it says to take away 6 negatives. So I'm going to take them away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, negative 3, which I had over here. Take away 6 negatives. So I took away 6 negatives. And now I have that cancels out, that cancels out, that cancels out, and I'm left with 1, 2, 3. So what this shows us is that negative 3 minus negative 6 is equal to positive 3. Let's take a look at our number line model and the keep, change, change and see how this compares. I'll rewrite the problem here in red. Negative 3 minus negative 6. That's our original problem. Let's use keep, change, change. Keep, change, change. Negative 3, we keep that. Subtraction becomes addition. We're going to add the opposite. The opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. And let's look how that looks up here on the number line. We go negative 3 back in the positive direction to 6, and we wind up right here at positive 3, just like we did back on the other page. And we'll go right back to that right now. Going back over here, just to remind ourselves that we wound up with, because all these 3 canceled out, with 3 positives, positive 3.